Indeed, it was a jam-packed first full day here at the 2025 California Democratic Party State Convention. The 4,000 Democrats in attendance heard from big-name speakers, including Minnesota Governor and 2024 Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, and California's own U.S. Senator Adam Schiff. Important to note, part of this convention is focused on internal party matters, like electing the party chair. But other aspects of the convention are heavily focused on state and, yes, national politics. Front and center, taking on President Donald Trump.
It has only been 4 months since this show started, but it is really clear where this is headed. And I think it comes down to this. You watch this guy, he's not all that complicated. There's two things that motivate Trump: cruelty and corruption. We have to push back every single day to what Trump is doing, every single day.
California does not cower, not now, not ever. We say to bullies, you can go yourself.
Will you stand up for health care? Will you stand up for Social Security? Will you stand up to Donald Trump?
Those in attendance like what they heard.
I feel so energized. Oh, yes. Yes.
Well, I've been a little low on Democrats, and I'm very inspired.
Oh, this is a really good convention. I think the energy, in spite of this last election, is fantastic.
With COVID and then with the loss, we've all been disconnected. So this is a good time for us to get reconnected and to work together.
The California Republican Party, meantime, has put out its own message during this convention, accusing Democrats of putting too much focus on fighting President Trump instead of prioritizing issues back home.
Here in California, Democrats run everything. They run the California state legislature, they run the executive branches, they run the governor's office. Rather than focus as to what is happening 3,000 some miles away in Washington, D.C., they need to start fixing the problems that they created here in this state.
Boy, 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 boy. So we got to talk about the woke Democrat Party convention out in California. As you guys saw at the beginning of this video, this convention was unhinged. Democrats are now cursing as a campaign strategy. Yes, instead of presenting ideas on how they're actually going to help this country, instead of working with President Trump and the Republicans in order to help the country, all they're doing is just engaging in Trump derangement and using bad language, right? That is what the Democrat Party has become, okay? They become the party of potty mouths, right? They believe that this is what they need to do to fire up their voters, especially considering how their own voters don't like the party, right? Their voters think that the leadership is weak, okay? So again, instead of actually showing strong leadership, which would be to work with the Trump administration on things that it makes sense to work with the Trump administration on and the Republicans on, to actually, fix the problems in that state, to address the core issues of why the Democrat Party is failing because they're too woke. No, they just decided they want to curse, right? They're cursing more, and they think that this is what makes them look strong. Now, I guess also what they're doing as well, too, in order to gain back voters, is that they're going full-blown Nazi, right? Full-blown fascist, okay? Because according to the mainstream liberal media, they told us that if you do what the media called a Nazi salute, okay, doing a rally or convention or whatever, then you're Nazi, right? That you are a Hitler supporter. This is what they said. But yet they haven't said anything about what Cory Booker did at this Democrat convention, in which it looked like he did what, again, the media calls a Nazi salute, right? Let's take a look at this. Wow. Okay, I'm just saying, this looks like a Nazi salute, according to the Democrats, right? According to the Democrats, this looks like a Nazi salute. Again, somebody tell me, what is the difference between what Elon did at Trump's inauguration convention versus what Cory Booker just did? Again, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is. Looks the same to me, right? Damn near identical, okay? So again, according to the mainstream liberal media, Cory Booker must be a Nazi supporter, okay? Remember what they said about Elon Musk when this first came out, when this first happened? Let's just remind you guys. Take a look.
And I just want to say thank you.
Anyway, let's look at one of these tech billionaire oligarchs speaking at the inauguration.
My heart goes out to you.
Did he just Sig Heil?
It is thanks to you that the future of civilization.
Elon Musk just did a Nazi salute while speaking at one of Donald Trump's inauguration events. Just take a look at this clip. So, what was that? What was that? On day one of Donald Trump's term, day one, Elon Musk is doing stuff like this? Really? Folks, I don't know why Elon Musk did this, but he should apologize immediately. That is absolutely disgusting. It's just very long, 4 years.
I cannot believe this happened today at a presidential inauguration in the United States of America.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
Every American should be outraged by this.
How inspiring would that be?
The biggest reception of the day. You saw him come out with that odd-looking salute.
Yeah.
It was odd-looking. We're going to show a screen grab of it. And as he said, to him, the future of civilization is assured now that Trump won. One of his rousing lines for this crowd.
One of his rousing lines, indeed. And yes, that salute was evocative of things that we have seen through history. And of course, we do want to bring it up to be able to take a little bit of a closer look. But I think it's worth noting that Elon Musk has started to play in politics, not just here in the United States, but across Europe as well, including a far-right party in Germany that he has pushed. He's, of course, pressured Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. This is something, there are some themes here.
I did want to ask you about the inauguration yesterday. Elon Musk, I'm sure you saw this, the head of the new Department of Government Efficiency. He spoke yesterday, and during his speech, he used a hand gesture that looked like a Nazi salute. Let's watch that. After this moment went viral, Congressman, the Anti-Defamation League released a statement. We can show this, saying in part, it seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute. Of course, if you go on social media, there are lots of other people with lots of other opinions and say this looks very much like a Nazi salute, no matter how they're trying to clean it up. What was your reaction to that?
That was a Nazi salute, and he didn't just do it one time. He did it twice for emphasis. And you talk to anyone, that's historians, folks who actually study the Nazis and study this actual kind of disgusting display, have been very clear that what that was. And he should not just apologize, he should be condemned for those kinds of actions. So,
yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, now, again, you would think that the media would give this same energy to Cory Booker, who, again, clearly is doing a Nazi salute here, according to them, right? Now, again, I don't make the rules. They make the rules. This is what they said. They said this is a Nazi salute. I'm trying to figure out exactly why is it that there is silence from the New York Times, CNN, the Washington Post, MSNBC, NPR, USA Today, Reuters, Axios, ABC News. Where are all these people? Where they at? If you Google Cory Booker, Nazi salute, right? Where's the mainstream liberal media, right? You have the Times of India, right? And the Hindustan Times with more credibility than the New York Times and the mainstream liberal media at this point, right? They're actually calling this out, right? They're covering this. Again, the mainstream liberal media, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found on this. And again, this is why Elon Musk responded to this, and he said, legacy media is one big psyop. Yes, it actually is one big psyop. 100%. It is. Again, people got to understand, this is what we're talking about when we talk about the bias of the media. When the media says, oh, we're not biased, right? We cover everybody fairly. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why is there no outrage over what Cory Booker did, right? I mean, I'm just saying, why is there no outrage? Why is it that when Elon Musk does something like that, which clearly is not a Nazi salute, let's be real. It's not a Nazi salute. He was clearly doing a gesture that basically symbolizes his heart going out to people, right? My heart goes out to you is what he was doing. Okay, everybody knows that. That's what Cory Booker was doing as well too. And the media knew that, but they called it that anyways because, again, they wanted to create this narrative that, oh, Elon Musk, he's a white supremacist. He's a Nazi. He supports far-right parties in Germany. He's pro-apartheid, right? So, again, it fits that narrative. So, again, in order to mold that narrative, they take what, again, is a awkward gesture, right? And they say, oh, well, this must be a Nazi salute, okay? This is what they do. But when Cory Booker does the same thing, now all of a sudden, again, there's silence, right? They don't have anything to say about it. So let's read about this. Senator Cory Booker roasted by pundits who accuse him of making Nazi salute at political event. Right-wing pundits ripped New Jersey Senator Cory Booker for making a gesture that they likened to a Nazi salute at the conclusion of a speech Saturday night and compared it to the move Elon Musk made that was ripped by liberals. The Garden State Democrat made the gesture at a Democratic convention in California, placing his hand over his heart and then gesturing to the crowd with a straight arm and an open hand above shoulder height. Internet influencers were quick to jump on Booker's salute and wonder where the outrage is when there was so much criticism by Booker's fellow Democrats and others on the left of Musk. Quote, if Elon Musk is a Nazi for doing this gesture, Cory Booker is one too. Sorry, I don't make the rules. One viral post read. Quote, Cory Booker did the thing. This is literally the Third Reich all over again. These are the darkest days ever. Democracy is doomed, one user wrote sarcastically in a viral post. Some ex-users were more pointed in their criticism of the differing receptions Booker and Musk gestures each garnered from the pundit class. Quote, same gesture, different political party. Funny how that works. Brandon Straka, founder of the Walkaway movement, wrote on X. Yeah, I mean, it's D for different. It's always D for different when it comes to Democrat Party, right? When it's a D by their name, it's different. Well, you don't understand. This is different, right? This right here somehow is different than what Elon Musk did, right? Again, it's funny how that works. This better be a national story for the next week. Another X poster joked. Yeah. So, you know, the left-wing outlets that are covering this, okay, like, for example, the Daily Beast, they're basically mocking MAGA for, quote unquote, melting down over Booker's Nazi salute. Now, again, this is not a meltdown, right? This is just us pointing out the hypocrisy, right? Pointing out hypocrisy is not a meltdown, okay? Nobody cares about this man doing whatever he was doing, right? Even if it was a Nazi salute, I don't really give a damn. Again, the problem is that you people, okay, the liberals, the left, made a big deal about this. And now all of a sudden they want to try to pretend that, oh, well, it's a nothing burger, right? Well, this is just, you know, my heart going out to you, right? Again, this is what they're saying. Let's read this. The MAGA bandwagon was quick to jump on the clip with commentators on X branding New Jersey's first black senator as a straight up Nazi and literal Hitler. Well, I mean, you guys branded an African-American entrepreneur, right? Elon Musk as a Nazi, right? Again, it sounds ridiculous, right? Yeah, if it's ridiculous to say that about Cory Booker, it's ridiculous to say that about Elon Musk, okay? Cory Booker sending his heart out to everyone, one user wrote, followed by a facepalm and crying, laughing emojis. It's the same line of a defense used by Elon Musk, who drew international condemnation for a similar gesture performed at Trump's inauguration in January. In a statement, a spokesperson for Booker denied that the senator made a Nazi salute. Quote, Cory Booker was obviously just waving to the crowd, said anyone who claims his wave is the same as Elon Musk's gesture is operating in bad faith. The differences between the two are obvious to anyone without an agenda, said the spokesperson for Cory Booker, right? The deputy communications director for Cory Booker. Now, of course, again, they are trying to say that, well, Elon Musk and his gesture was different, right? Instead of just being honest and saying, well, it was ridiculous to say that Elon Musk's gesture was a Nazi salute, just like it's ridiculous to say that Cory Booker's gesture is a Nazi salute, right? That's the right answer here. The right answer is to say that saying that this was a Nazi salute by Elon or Cory Booker is ridiculous, right? But again, these people can't help themselves. They want to continue this, oh, well, it's D for different thing, okay? Which again shows you how dishonest these people really are, okay? But, you know, nobody should be surprised that Cory Booker's team is full of grifters, right? And dishonest people, because I want to talk about Cory Booker. And the fact is that he is, in fact, a grifter because he is now cashing in on that pointless filibuster. You guys remember the filibuster that actually really wasn't filibuster, but he just stood on the House floor and complained about Trump for like 24 hours straight. You guys remember that?
He promised to lower your grocery prices, they're higher. He promised, I'll be a better steward of the economy. It's worse than we inherited. Over and over, he's breaking promises and doing outrageous things like disappearing people off of American streets, fundamental principles of this document, invoking The Alien Enemies Act from the 1700s that was last used to put Japanese Americans in internment camps? Do we see what's happening? How much is enough?
I just have to ask, what the hell is going on here, Miller?
Well, first of all, I think that's the first ever filibuster in American history from Cory Booker in favor of getting men into women's sports, keeping our borders open, and making sure that we tax the wages of our tip workers in Nevada. So very courageously, Cory Booker has stood strong for those three issues. Here's what he never filibustered for. Here's what the Democrats never filibustered for. The dead bodies of American citizens raped, mutilated, and murdered by the illegal aliens that Joe Biden and his administration and Secretary Mayorkas funneled into our country during the invasion that took place over the last 4 years. They released people into this nation, not people, monsters into this nation that were pedophiles, that were child rapists, that tortured women, that murdered moms and dads, that committed atrocities that we've never seen before in this country. And now they have the temerity to say that every single invader that Joe Biden let in should get their own individual judicial trial before they're deported, one at a time. Each one gets $1 million trial in front of a communist judge to decide whether or not we can send them home. How about hell no? How about we pick them up and we get them out of this country so they can't hurt anyone else?
Yeah, so at the time in which Cory Booker was doing this, a lot of people like myself were wondering, well, what is the point, right? Why is he doing this? And now we kind of know, right? Because apparently he was doing this in order to eventually push a book, right, that nobody will read. So let's read here. New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker is parlaying his marathon 25-hour speech from the Senate floor last month into a new book set to be published in November, sparking widespread mockery online. Booker's filibuster oration, appropriately made on April Fool's Day, was the longest continuous speech ever given on the floor of the upper chamber, eclipsing a record set by late South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond in 1957. Now, less than 2 months later, St. Martin's Press will be publishing the book Stand, as intended as a companion piece to the Senate floor bloviation. Quote, the book is about the virtues vital to our success as a nation and lessons we can draw from generations of Americans who fought for them, the 56-year-old lawmaker said in a statement touting his forthcoming treatise. Social media immediately erupted with scorn after the announcement, with hundreds of comments ripping Booker and questioning his motives in attempting to profit from the record-breaking monologue. Quote, it was a grift all along, one observer wrote. Quote, I cannot wait to not read this, an ex-commenter quipped. Those poor trees, said another. Rebel without a cause or a clue, another user chimed in. Yeah, so again, what you have here is exactly what the Democrat Party is at this point, right? It's all fake nonsense, okay? It's all virtue signaling in order for them to profit, right? That's essentially what Cory Booker did. He wasted everybody's time with this 25-hour speech complaining about Trump, right? Which, you know, you have to have a legendary amount of Trump derangement to talk about a guy for 24 hours straight. But then again, the media basically complains about Trump for 24 hours straight. So, hey, you know, this is kind of par for the course nowadays. But yeah, I mean, like, to do that with no real purpose outside of grifting, outside of virtue signaling, and then to push a book is a perfect encapsulation of the Democrat Party and their leadership, right? This is why their leadership ratings, right? This is why the approval ratings for their leadership is just in the tank, right? It's like sub 20%, okay? It's really, really, really bad because, again, this is what they do. This is all they have to offer to the American people. Trump derangement and selling books, right? Pushing books that nobody's going to read. Nobody's reading this book, okay? It's going to sell less books than Jake Tapper's book, right? So, you know, it's just hilarious to me how much of an embarrassment the Democrat Party has become. I think this story right here is exactly what I'm talking about. There's no hope for the Democrat Party at all, right? There's no doubt in my mind that Cory Booker will probably be trying to run for president, okay? We already know that this dude is lining himself up to try to run. And, you know, guys like him have absolutely no chance. They have zero chance whatsoever. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.